It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Monday morning, July 29th. Ho! Ho! Okay, I'm awake.
Yeah,
just making sure. You never really know what's going to happen on a Monday when you turn the mic on.
No, you sure don't.
So I just like to kind of go overboard. Now I can back it down a little. I'm going to gear down. I'm going to get out of fifth gear, put it back in fourth gear.
All right.
And let's have ourselves a morning. Here's your top 5 at 6, the top things you know to start up your day, to start up your week, in fact. Number 5. Well, how much fun was rocking the 80s on Friday night? Thanks to everybody who showed up at Stillwater.
Yeah, no kidding.
The Rock of the 80s cruise went off, as far as I know, without a hitch.
Always a damn good time. There's the friendly, familiar faces, and of course, new faces. Every time we get out on one of these boats, I meet a lot of new folks. Good time. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for putting up with me. I hope I wasn't too inappropriate with anyone.
I'm fairly certain, and I wasn't responsible for the head count, but I think everybody that got on got off.
Well, I mean, for
I think
a good time.
I would have heard differently by now.
Yeah.
So that was a really, really nice time. So thanks to everybody who showed up and rocked the 80s with us on Friday night. A little later in the show today, 9 a.m., we've got another little get-together, a soiree. We're going to make the big announcement at 9 a.m. You will want to know all about that.
Okay.
You heard me.
I'm going to trust you on this one. No, this
Between now and 9, I'll let you know what I'm going to say. So it won't be a complete shock to your system. That'll be worth waiting around for. Number 4 on your top 5 at 6. Anoka County. Check this out. A metropolitan mosquito controlled district helicopter. Up in Anoka County, a helicopter spraying for mosquitoes was flying by the Refuge Golf Club, and boy, somebody just hit a cherry of a shot.
Yeah.
Someone smacked the helicopter with a golf ball.
That's how I never get that kind of lift. I don't get that kind of lift.
Saying.
I'm kind of a topper, you know. I like to hit her. Is that thin when you top it like that?
Now the helicopter did safely return and land. Obviously, there were no injuries or anything, or else we wouldn't be having such a fun time mentioning this. But let's just think about this. Who among us doesn't go to the driving range and just spend the whole day trying to hit that cart that's picking up the balls?
I have hit the cart.
I have too.
Yeah, they don't even turn their head. The kids don't even look at you. They got the earbuds in and they're rocking out. But yeah, always trying to hit the cart. And that's my shot, the kind of the ground pounder. I don't loft it. I don't ever hit the top of the cart. I ricochet it off like a hub or something like that. Although if we have a helicopter up in the air that can be taken down with a golf ball.
You put a helicopter overhead, I'm pulling out the wedge. I'm going for it. Make no mistake. I mean, I'd love to say I'll let him do a business.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to try to hit that helicopter every damn time. And it reminds me, isn't there a Mel Gibson movie where he brings down a helicopter with a handgun?
I'm sure.
He just starts firing.
You're thinking of
one of those Lethal Weapons, maybe, or something. He's standing at an ocean side. But anyway, I just thought, if he can bring down a helicopter with a handgun, surely give me 2 sleeves, 6 balls, and a wedge.
Midnight Run.
Is it? No,
that's it. De Niro.
De Niro does it. That's
De Niro, right. Yeah, the big shootout down by the underpass. Mel
Gibson once. You're right, but De Niro does it. Well, Bobby D. I mean, he's a special actor.
Yeah.
Anyway, so but all I'm saying is, trust me, there's not a golfer on earth who wouldn't walk around going, by the way, I took down I smacked the helicopter yesterday.
Better that helicopter than my truck. Every time I'm driving past one of those, I'm afraid there's someone golfing on that fairway.
Oh, sure.
Like myself.
Speaking of your truck, number 3 on the top 5 at 6, if you happen to be driving a Toyota Tundra or maybe a Lexus luxury SUV, a 2022 or a 2023 model, Toyota Tundras or Lexus LX 600s, golf balls are the least of your concerns.
Yeah.
There is a recall. They need to replace nearly 100,000 Tundra pickups, not a part, the entire engine.
Oh, that's going to be spendy.
There's a bit of a problem. Engines are losing power while driving. Toyota in June said, we're going to work on a solution. And now they're like, oh, by the way, the solution is we're replacing the entire engine on 103,500 trucks.
They do that at the dealership level? I mean, Toyota, Lexus dealers,
I don't know.
the poor fellas and gals working in those shops must just be like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah, I don't think the average guy who's, working the oil change and the tire rotation doesn't want to replace an engine. I know that much.
Crap.
Holy crap. Number 2 on our top 5 at 6. No surprise to this guy, beer is still the king of the summer in terms of alcoholic beverages. In a new survey, 2/3 of drinkers say they have enjoyed beer in the last 3 months. That's more than wine, more than spirits, more than cocktails. That's a fact right now. Check this out. The United States beer industry contributes more than $400 billion to the economy every year. That is 1.5% of the gross domestic product.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, man. Where would we be without our friends, the Suds, the Hops,
Armageddon, Anarchy? Not a good place. Oh, thank you, Homer.
As my high school soccer coach said after a gut-wrenching loss as a senior, guys, sometimes you just got to take your troubles to the golden bubbles. Never forget that. I was like, our coach is telling us to drink? What the hell's happening here?
Can't wait to get together with the guys again and use that line.
Maybe you wanted to hop in the tub with you and see it coming.
Pee in the tub. Yeah, the golden bubbles.
Had a few myself Friday night on the cruise. Nothing wrong with it. Don't judge me. Finally, the Olympics did kick off in full swing over the weekend. Sarah Bacon, former diver at the U, she, along with her partner Cassidy Cook, won the USA's first medal of the games. They took silver in the women's synchronized springboard. 2 other stories leaping off the old social media machine to me over the weekend. Canada's women's soccer team caught cheating. Using drones with cameras to spy on their upcoming opponents' practice sessions. When Canada cheats, what chance do the rest of us have?
Right. It's like we've turned the good kid in class. They've been hanging out with the United States too long.
Clearly.
Yeah. Bad influence.
My God. I mean, Canada, how dare you take a page from our book?
Sorry. We're so sorry. Just sorry.
I mean, if Bill Belichick couldn't get away with it, what the hell are you thinking? That is just devastating stuff. And then the other story I noticed, the triathlon. We all know what the triathlon is.
Oh yeah, it's
swimming, cycling, running.
That's a buster right there.
It's going to be a dual-athlon unless the Seine River gets cleaned up. Second day in a row, training's been canceled because the water is showing itself to be unacceptable standard of health. There's been rain, and when rain hits Paris, sewage finds its way into the Seine River.
Oh, that's nice.
The water was testing clean a week ago, but now with the extra rain, they're like, sorry, looks like we're just probably going to have athletes cycling and running unless we get a few days without rain and we can show that the water is clear.
Empty those condom bowls and put like penicillin in there for the athletes, I guess.
I've been to a lot of big cities and a lot of big cities with rivers, and I've yet to see one where I thought, let me jump in there and take a dip.
I was just driving past Benamacoska the other day, and I was like, I haven't been paddleboarding over there, but I'm afraid I might fall in. I mean, that's probably fine. You know, Nokomis, Ryder's lake of choice. That's got the green-blue algae. Yeah, that's deadly. It's deadly to a dog like me. They had the same thing in Rio when the Olympics were down there. They couldn't do a lot of the paddleboarding and different events out there, canoe events, because they had some toxic waters.
But wouldn't it seem, I would say, though, the people least likely to get sick in bad water should be Olympians. I mean, you'd think they would have the immune system just ready to go.
All those steroids already pumping through their bloodstream.
That's what I'm saying.
Isn't there no body of water they can throw them into, and besides the Seine?
Send them to Tahiti with the surfers.
Yeah, is that Fiji or Tahiti? It's one of the other cool places. Yeah, right. No kidding.
It's only 10,000 miles away. Literally 10,000 miles away from Paris. They're doing the surfing competition. Those guys are like, well, we don't have the Olympic Village and everything, but wait, hold on.
We don't have the Olympic Village.
No, there's no upside. There's only 11 other people here. This sucks.
You know who else doesn't have the Olympic Village? I heard over the weekend they're getting a little grief for it. Our dream team, basketball team.
Oh, of course not.
They have a luxury hotel they've rented, the entire hotel in northern France.
Of course they did.
Oh, that's fun. I love it when the amateur athletes come out for the Olympics.
Sure. I don't think Michael Jordan was sleeping in a dorm in Barcelona back in 92. No. Something tells me that wasn't exactly what was happening. Along the way, sometimes, you can say you want to support the mom and pop shops all day long, and that's always a good thing, but we all hit Amazon. There are times when there's just no alternative. Sometimes Amazon reminds us you never really know who's putting what into those boxes. It's a crapshoot. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, July the 29th. Boy, if you didn't before COVID shut down the world, you certainly by now know all about Amazon. We all order stuff constantly from Amazon.
Yes, sir.
I'm less and less as time gets away, but there was a brief period of time there in 2020 when I went, boy, I wish I had Amazon stock. Because, my gosh, we were all just having stuff brought in on a regular basis. A woman in Columbia, that is not Columbia, South Carolina, or Columbia, Missouri. This is Colombia, the country in South America, ordered an air fryer from Amazon to her home.
I love my air fryer. That's my thing.
Boy, my kids are like different people since they got on their air fryer tip. They're just like Chef Tell.
I'll tell you what,
an old reference. Chef Boyardee. Chef Tell, what the hell?
It makes fast food better. Sometimes I wait until I get home. I won't eat my fries in the truck now. I wait till I get home and I air fry those bad boys. In fact, leave the fries out on the counter overnight, preferably with the bag shut. Just leave them there and they get really gross and chewy. Put them in the air fryer.
Nice.
Yep.
Second wind, huh?
Yeah, second wind, big time. Big and bad. Pizza, forget about that soggy microwave heated up pizza. Anyway, so she's the new air fryer.
So Sophia Serrano is her name, and she ordered the air fryer to her home in Columbia. She was very excited because she had some French fries from yesterday, and she needed them. She needed to put a second spin on them. She opened her parcel. There was not an air fryer in the box. There was what is known as a Spanish rock lizard, as in a live animal, a reptile, a lizard that is from Spain and or Portugal, naturally. It's where you find these things, usually in rocks or shrubbery in Spain or Portugal. It's a threatened species, and a woman in South America opened an Amazon box. It said air fryer, but no, it was a lizard. A live, living, breathing, crawling, probably pissed off lizard.
It's not even in a container. I'm looking at the picture in the story. It's just you open the box.
It's loose in a box.
There's nothing else. Well, you can't. I wonder how lizard would taste in an air fryer. Wall of voodoo. I wish it wasn't Tijuana eating barbecued iguana. Yeah, a little chewy.
It'd be better after the air fryer than not in the air fryer. I would imagine.
I bet she screamed. I bet she jumped a little anyway.
What could this be? Does the guy literally driving the truck, did he look at it and go, "Oh man, I've been meaning to get an air fryer. Hey, what? You still got that lizard you brought back from Spain? It weighs about the same. Let me make the swap."
Does that happen at the warehouse, or don't you notice when you pick up the box? I'm looking at the lizard. I'm thinking of my air fryer, and now I pick up the box. And there's something sliding around in there.
Yeah, the air fryer is not shifting its position while you're holding the box, generally speaking.
It's not going or whatever noise they make.
By the way, this is documented. There's another one from Bengaluru, India. A woman opened an Amazon box to discover a spectacled cobra. That is a highly venomous snake in her box. Yeah.
Where's a porch pirate when you need one?
No, I know. Yeah, no kidding. I know. There's a certain side of me, being a snakeophobe like I am, that says that's why I don't go to India, because those snakes are everywhere you go. But still, she didn't ask for that. Come on. Speaking of crazy animal interludes, a cyclist in British Columbia was accosted, if you will, by a grizzly bear over the weekend. Oops. A grizzly bear and two cubs. He escaped this. He survived well intact because as the bear was coming down on him, he punched the bear in the face with everything he had, and the grizzly literally turned around and ran off.
What?
Yeah. One punch right to the snout, and the thing was like, screw it.
Glass jaw.
Yeah, there are stories out there of guys that have pumped like 544 Magnum rounds into a bear right before it tore him in half.
I gotta think,
just a sock to the mush, huh?
And I think the bear was just hadn't made the commitment yet, and he was like, at the same time, those berries looked pretty good back there, like a half mile back on the trail. I'm going to go back and check those berries out.
I'm not into this today.
This is the one guy you'll hear about who literally had a grizzly bear encounter and just rode out and felt pretty good about it. That means the next 1,300 humans to encounter a grizzly will be ripped to shreds. This guy They say take a hit for the team. This guy did not take the hit for the team. The next person that grizzly bear sees is in trouble. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, no kidding, right? This grizzly bear's got a safe face, and this guy has a story to tell that no one will ever, ever, ever believe. He's going to have to walk around with his phone, with it. No, here's the story. Look, that's my name. Here's my driver's license. See, I punched a grizz in the face.
Now, I did not see a grizzly bear this morning when I woke up, but I did step outside with Chauncey about 4:30 this morning, and I encountered a single wasp. At that time of day.
Yeah.
I didn't know I'd encountered him. I walked outside in a bathrobe, walked back inside, and I noticed, what's that weird pain on my ass? True story. I opened my robe, a wasp fell out, hit the floor, 6 stings.
What? Because they don't lose their stinger.
Right on my ass cheek, right down my thigh, and 2 on my side. 6 wasp stings at about 4:36 a.m. this morning.
I'm surprised. I'm looking at Steve this morning. I'm surprised you're not listing in one direction. You're on that cheek, did you?
I was
some Tylenol, perhaps.
I immediately Googled, what do you do? I mean, it was, and by the way, it was. I don't know if this matters. It was a smallish wasp, but I know a yellow jacket when I see it. That's what it was, and it just said wash it with soap, put a little ice on it. I did that. I just get on with my day. I'm a tough guy.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm the kind of guy who punches grizzlies in the nose and endures wasp stings. So there, stick that in your pipe and smoke
Brian,
it.
get out the aloe.
Man, there's always the 9 o'clock hour, Mr. Soft Hands. I might come a calling.
Yeah, that's right, Tony.
Jeez. All right, let's look back. Oh, I got a thing or two for you. On this day in 1989, the Texas Rangers traded utility infielder Scott Fletcher and a couple of minor league prospects, Wilson Alvarez and Sammy Sosa, to the Chicago White Sox for Harold Baines. Now, Harold Baines had a very nice career, but he was no Sammy Sosa, as it turned out. Sosa went to the White Sox originally, didn't do much, traded to the crosstown Cubs a couple years later, and then, of course, he was a perennial all-star. The man who signed off on the trade, I should say, was then Rangers owner George W. Bush. No. And in 2000, during the GOP debate, where before he got the nomination for president, he was asked about the biggest mistake of his life, and he said, Sosa for Baines. Which is a pretty great answer, actually. On this day in 1996, the great Tommy Lasorda announced his retirement from the Los Angeles Dodgers. 4 National League pennants, 2 World Series championships, and one of my favorite rants of all time. Kurt Bavacqua of the Padres blamed Tommy Lasorda for ordering a beanball one day. The following day, and by the way, he said, you shouldn't worry about the pitching staff. You should blame that fat little Italian who ordered it. That's what he said. Lasorda the next day said, what do you think about what Kurt Bavacqua said? And this is what Lasorda had to say in response.
Tell you what I think about it. I think that is very, very bad for that man to make an accusation like that. That is terrible. I have never, ever, since I've managed, ever told a pitcher to throw at anybody, nor will I ever. And if I ever did, I certainly wouldn't make him throw at a 130 hitter like LaFay or Bavacqua, who couldn't hit water if he fell out of a fucking boat. And I guarantee you this, when I pitched, and I was going to pitch against a fucking team that had guys on it like Bavacqua, I sent a fucking limousine to get the sucker to make sure he was in the motherfucking lineup, because I kicked that sucker's ass any fucking day in a week. He's a fucking motherfucking big mouth, I'll tell you that.
Oh my God.
There.
Nobody ever said the word Bavacqua like it was such a slur as Tommy Lasorda.
And well delivered, like
what a setup.
Yeah.
What a performer at all times.
Big movie reviews, the latest news on rock stars, celebrities, and world-class athletes, and plenty of juicy love nuggets, too. We're heading west for Mike Evans' Hollywood Report on the KQ Morning Show.
Hey, good morning, Minneapolis. Good morning, St. Paul. Good morning, KQRS. Hope you had a great weekend. We start off with, sort of an anti-love nugget. Scoop is the divorce will be filed sometime this week between Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez. And now it's come down to the old familiar, have your people call my people. Weekend box office and a related sidebar, Deadpool and Wolverine had the biggest opening weekend in history for an R-rated movie. 8th biggest overall opening with $210 million domestically, $438 million globally. And before yesterday's San Diego Comic-Con closed, where 135,000 people attended the 8-day event, there was a surprise appearance of a man on stage with a mask, and then a gasp when he took the mask off. Turned out to be Robert Downey Jr., who announced that he was returning to the Marvel blockbuster franchise Avengers and will play Doctor Doom, which no doubt will be another huge box office smash. Okay, to the Olympics. I thought the opening ceremonies was over the top, often boring, some parts in very, very poor taste, some parts just goofy, and it went on and on and on. By the way, the TV ratings was up slightly from the Tokyo Games. However, consider this. The San Francisco 49er Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl this year had 4 times more viewers. About 29 million tuned in to watch the opening ceremonies. Over 120 million watched the Super Bowl. I can say no more. Well, actually, I can say more. With hotel, restaurants, and everything else doubling in prices in Paris for the games, attendance for the games in Paris, France, are way down. Not to mention, some of the athletes are complaining that their village rooms stink. Some are dirty, some have no air conditioning, and oh yes, bugs. And since the Olympics are all about sportsmanship and the honor for your country, how about that Beverly Priestman, Canada's women's soccer coach, thrown out of the games, thrown out of Paris for hiring a drone to fly over and spy on New Zealand's women's soccer team practice. So much for honor for your country. Unbelievable. To be honest, I will watch some of the events, but I think these games are going to be a bust. Tomorrow, Kevin Spacey, Rod Stewart, and other scoop. Have a great day, Mike Evans. See ya.
The Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Weekdays on the KQ Morning Show. Zip, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, July 29th. Let's see. At 7:50 this morning on this very show, we're going to give away tickets to see Extreme and Living Color. And when I say give them away, well, we're going to give them away to the person who earns them because it's Monday, which means we're going to beat the toaster. We're going to beat the toaster at 7:50. There are way, way, way less cool things than beating that toaster. That's always exciting. And at 9 o'clock this morning, we've got a major announcement, a major KQRS announcement. You will not want to miss that. So plenty of things to look forward to as we move along. For right now, here's something kind of cool. Slash, guitarist from Guns N' Roses, top hat, the Troy Polamalu hairstyle. An iconic figure for the last 35 plus years in rock music. Slash celebrating the blues with his new album Orgy of the Damned. Along with his Serpent Festival tour, we want to send you down there. You can win a trip for 2 to Nashville, Tennessee. You will attend an exclusive Slash soundcheck experience, plus the gig, of course. You'll take home an autographed Gibson guitar and his new album. Text the national keyword blues to 95819 right now to enter for a chance to win. Here's a story. It seems like one thing on the surface, but I think ultimately this is a parenthood story. A woman in New York State, Western New York, Gettysville. Never heard of Gettysville. I guess you got to get there to know it. Gettysville, New York. A mom and her 4-year-old daughter went to a Burger King, and a completely insane thing apparently happened. We've got a little audio of the traumatized mother.
I went to Burger King by my house, and I decided to get a Happy Meal for my daughter, and I heard, "Mom, I don't want ketchup." I look in her bag, and there is blood all over her bag, her toy, her fries. everything.
What the hell?
Okay, first of all, the Happy Meal ain't Burger King. Okay, get your change straight. I went to Burger King, got my daughter the Happy Meal. I'm just playing lawyer here. Are you sure you went to Burger King? This woman, Tiffany Floyd, gave her 4-year-old daughter her meal. It was a burger and fries, and as you just heard, the child had said, I don't want ketchup. There was ketchup all over the food already. But it wasn't ketchup. It was apparently human blood.
Heck.
Gross. Probably healthier for you than ketchup, however.
Could be. Well, I mean, if that hunts, you know.
No, I love it.
I'm
a lot of sugar.
No, I know. So the mom was totally freaked out. She called the restaurant, and the manager said, well, sorry about that. One of our cooks had cut his hand earlier in the day. It must have been worse than we realized. Maybe he was still bleeding. That's pretty much all the guy said. He goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Come back in. I'll give you some more food." She called the local health department. They filed a report, but she said there's not a whole lot else they can do. But then it goes on. This story goes on. She said, my daughter must now, because the daughter did have a bite or two with this on there. She said, my daughter must now undergo monthly blood tests for a year to ensure she's not picked up any kind of bloodborne illness.
I mean,
you could also just go get the guy tested in the store, have his blood drawn, see what's in there.
Right.
She's very angry about this, and I mean I get being angry. She says the manager he handled it in a very cavalier way, like it wasn't that big a deal.
Right, exactly.
But this is where, and I'm totally on mom's side until I read this. She says, my daughter has not eaten since this happened. My anxiety's through the roof. What if my daughter's going to need professional help from this?
All right.
She's 4. Why does she even know it was not normal?
Because mom's spazzing out.
Yeah.
24/7
Thank
over
you.
this. Yeah,
your job is to protect your daughter at all times, first and foremost.
Yeah, don't panic her. Don't freak her out. Don't,
Thank you.
Stick that anxiety in her head that she'll have for the rest of her life. But I have a feeling that there'll probably be several incidents like this in that child's life. If mom, is prone to freaking out. Now, listen. I think I would definitely be raising my voice, especially with the cavalier attitude.
Of course.
Yeah, and
of course.
I'd be wanting more than a new. What do they serve there at BK? What is their Happy Meal? Anyway, I'd even lawyer up probably maybe on this one, but don't lay it on the kid.
Why does the kid even know what happened?
Right.
A 4-year-old kid, you can go, oh, that's so weird. Let me see. You take the food away and you go, okay, you feel okay? All right, have a sip of this water. And then that's the last the kid should ever hear. You go replace the food so the kid's not hungry.
Right.
That child should never know about this at 4 years old.
I'm with you
sorry.
there, man.
And I mean, I've not had this specific thing happen, but as a parent, there's a lot of things, especially with toddlers and then those early years in elementary school. There's a million opportunities to freak your kid out, and the smart parent simply doesn't.
Right, because they will take it with them for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
Think about every time this kid sees ketchup now, she's going to freak out.
Every time she goes to see a slasher movie, French fries.
That's exactly right. Oh my God, that person's hand looks like it's got French fries attached. I don't even see fingers anymore.
Some innocent date when she's 16, 17 years old, and the young man says, would you like some ketchup on your fries? Takes her to the fast food joint, and she's just going to freak out. He's going to be like, head case.
Man, this is just a perfect example. It's like, hey, man, you've got to, if you're going to have a kid, you're going to raise a kid in the modern world, you have to come up with a serious poker face, and you've got to be willing to embrace denial at all times.
Right, exactly. And while we're lecturing this morning a little bit, Steve, here, with some common sense, I think. If you're working back there in the fast food kitchen and you gash your hand, go ahead and call it a day.
Yeah. No, just
step out.
Just walk right out the back door.
Step out. Maybe grab a mop and hit the bathroom. Get a Band-Aid on that.
You know what? If you walk out of your fast food kitchen job and you're leaving a trail of blood, they're not going to be angry that you left. I can assure you of that.
At least give it a dab with a napkin.
It just occurred to me. We told this story months and months ago. Burger King offered $1 million to the person who comes up with the next great, quote, Whopper innovation. Maybe this guy was just trying to cash in $1 million from his employer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
12 beef pat. Wait, that's the Big Mac. What's Burger King? Have it your way.
Have it your way.
Tomato, lettuce, cheese, couple ounces of human blood.
I mean, during a Shocktober promotion, this would rock.
Yeah. No, that's a $1 million
vampire
idea.
burger. Yeah.
Speaking of insane fast food stories, there's a woman in St. Louis, Missouri, who has been arrested after an incident at a Jack in the Box. This woman, a 41-year-old woman, walked into a Jack in the Box restaurant and said, "Hey, I got chicken strips here 3 days ago, and you shorted me one strip."
Took her a while to get back off the couch, did it?
I don't know how many chicken strips come in an order, but she got one less than she expected, apparently.
Damn it.
The manager on the spot apologized and said, "Hey, how about I give you one right now?" I mean, pretty solid answer. He's probably thinking, and he's thinking like you, 3 days later, and you're going to, but he's like, I don't care.
You know what I do? If I'm the manager, just grab the whole box of chicken strips. What do we got, a 4-pack here?
Just here, take
Thanks.
it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming in.
You would think that would have resolved the issue, but then this woman became very unhappy because the manager did not offer her ranch dressing with it. So she spat in his face.
All right.
Okay, clearly there's more at work than just a missing chicken finger. This woman's got some issues.
Yeah, perhaps something awry at home, and she took it down to the Jack in the Box.
She stormed out of the restaurant. The manager followed her out and took a photo of her license plate.
Okay.
Just because he's obviously thinking, well, this is not over. I want to make sure. The woman realized what he was doing, and she said, "Are you trying to get charges on me?" She started freaking out. She jumped into her car. He's walking back into the restaurant. She guns it in reverse and tries to run him over. The manager was knocked to the ground.
Okay.
Rolled over the manager's foot and ankle.
Oh. Right.
The woman fled the scene. Police did locate her thanks to that photo of her license plate.
Right.
She is not bonded out. She has remained in jail ever since.
You know, when you're down a chicken strip, a nugget, what have you, some fries, you need to go back immediately. If you let this fester and just sort of percolate over a few days, then you have, what are you doing with your life? Seriously. And as a manager, they leave the store. I'm not following them anywhere.
No.
Out to their car when they grab a gun or try to run me down. Dude.
I got into a fight at a Jack in the Box once with my wife.
What?
Yeah. San Francisco, early 90s, late at night, after a gig, in the hotel, kind of drunk. I'm starving. Hey, there's a Jack in the Box right across the street.
Awesome.
And there had just been like a big Jack in the Box, E. coli or something.
I remember that.
It had just gone down like a month earlier.
Yeah.
And she goes, you can't eat a Jack in the Box. And I said, what are you talking about? She goes, the E. coli. I go, this is the best time possible to eat at one. Do you know how clean every Jack in the Box in the world is right now?
Yeah.
And she's like, you're not going. I go, yeah, watch me. And we went over there. And
Steven?
This is what happens when you just, when you're young and you're having fun and you're a little too drunk, and then we're standing in a Jack in the Box in the middle. I mean, right in the middle of San Francisco, in a very busy, just an area full of drunk people, and we were literally arguing in line, waiting at 1 a.m. And then it dawned on me, like, oh my God, were those drunk people yelling at each other at Jack in the Box? Turned around and walked out. Never got my food.
You let her win.
I just let her win.
Yeah, and you've been letting her win ever since.
That's a Hootie and a Blowfish song. Let her win if you know what's good for you.
Happy wife, happy life kind of deal.
When younger people say, what's the secret? I say complete capitulation.
I bet
give up the ghost.
Bet they didn't even bat an eye at the couple arguing at the Jack in the Box at 1 a.m. Probably weren't the only couple at that time arguing in
That's
there.
the thing. I look back and I'm like, what am I talking about? I'm like in San Francisco. I'm the least of anyone's concerns right there.
Right.
Ever wonder what happens when you're watching the Olympics and you see the swimmers now? And I missed this when it happened. It's been going on for years, but they wear the swim cap.
Yeah.
And then they wear the second swim cap.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Which one day I noticed, I was like, how long has this been going on? No one told me they're doubling up on swim caps. But occasionally you'll be watching a race and you'll see a swim cap like leave someone's head. You just see it floating in the water for a second because you'll be like, wait, what is that? And you think, did that person have, it's just a swim cap. Well, in case you're wondering what happens when someone leaves a swim cap behind in the pool, we've got an answer. His name is Bob. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, July 29th. The Olympics kicked off in full force. Opening ceremonies Friday, a ton of games ever since. And I'm just watching we're listening to some music here, and I look at I still say Twitter. I look at X.
Yeah, close enough.
So weird. And I'm watching women's 100-meter butterfly. And Gretchen Walsh was supposed to be the winner, and then she was just upset by her teammate, Tori Husky. And you see the two Americans on the gold and silver by 1/10 of a 1/100th of a second separating the two of them.
Yeah.
But the point is this: I don't even have the sound on. I'm watching these two women on the medal stand together, and as soon as the national anthem starts, they both start to react, and my eyes water. I will forever not care about the Olympics until they start.
Is the air quality, you think?
And it's not even just when it's Americans. Just anytime I see someone on the medal stand get emotional, all I think about is how hard they have worked to get there.
Right.
And what it must feel like to go, oh my God, I just won this damn medal. And bronze, gold, so it doesn't matter which one. Like, you're on that medal stand. You're like the third at worst. I'm the third best on the planet at something.
Yeah.
What an amazing thing every time.
And they're full-time students and probably working. Or you're not a student and you're just working a full-time job. And then in your free time, when we're all out happy houring and having a good time, they're working their brains out in
one
a
of
particular sport. Yeah.
The two women I'm just mentioning, one goes to Stanford, one goes to University of Virginia. So, they got a caseload. Those aren't the kind of schools that just let you slide.
Yeah, and there's the Katie Ledecky's, there's the Michael Phelps. There, the freaks that achieve such greatness that they can monetize it and turn it into a career. But most of these folks will go to the Olympics once or twice, maybe get up there on the podium, have this high water mark in their life, and then step off into the same sort of living we all do. That's what I appreciate about the Olympics. I get into it. Plus, there's also that sort of Ocho thing. When you're watching water polo or fencing or something just really odd. Like, I didn't even know this was a sport. Fromage or something. I don't know what that is. That's an equestrian thing.
That's just where they eat French cheese.
Yeah, but it's also an equestrian event.
Dressage.
Whatever. See, I had a point, and I don't know what the F it was.
You know what? If they had an event like the biathlon where you ski and shoot, but what if you rode horses and ate cheese? I would watch that.
When I pitched, and I was going to pitch against a team that had guys on it like Babakwa, I sent a limousine to get sucker to make sure he was in the lineup because I kicked that sucker's ass.
That's right.
Anyway, the Olympics, fun.
You just referenced water polo. Can we just take a moment and just my every 4-year reminder that those people are not human. Water polo. I watch water polo.
Yeah,
it is just it's a street fight in water.
Yeah,
and I mean I could give you 100 yards freestyle right now if you give me like 7 minutes. The idea of playing that sport.
I think
it's fun. We played that in high school. It's a blast.
Oh,
it's really
do
hard.
Most of the work, though, I think.
Yeah, they have to hold their breath. If you won a medal, what would you do with it? Would you wear it around your neck all the time?
I don't know. That's a good question. I've never even for 1 minute imagined winning an Olympic medal.
Yeah.
Sure. I'd wear that. I'd wear that sweatshirt. I'd go with the opening ceremony garb.
Right. Yes, my medal.
My next flight to anywhere. Oh, I'm sorry. Am I the only Olympian on this plane?
There's still a little bit of that stigma. We were talking about this. Even though you're up on the podium and you get the bronze, and you're the third greatest in the world, there's still a little bit of like bronze. No, that's good.
It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing to think you can be the woman who just won the 100-meter butterfly, Tori Husky. She missed the Olympics. She missed the medal stand 4 years ago by 0.001 seconds. 0.001 seconds, and then she just won the gold by 0.004 seconds. That is an incredible. For 4 years, she's been like literally 1/100th of a second away from the bronze.
Length of an eyelash.
Absolutely incredible. Many of the water events, you do see people, as I mentioned earlier, they'll lose a swim cap. They'll fly right off their head sometimes. And a race ends, and someone's there, and they've just completed their race, and they're missing a swim cap. They don't go get it themselves because there's a dude on hand to do just that. He's there to get anything out of the pool that may have found its way into the pool. His name is Bob the Cap Catcher. At least that's what we call him on NBC. During the women's 100-meter breaststroke, an American named Emma Weber, she lost her swimming cap, and it goes right to the bottom of the pool. And on NBC, they show that cap down there, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to have to get the cap catcher to come out. And I would just imagine it's like a former swimmer himself or a current swimmer who's not on Olympic level. No, it's just a dude with a beer belly in a Speedo.
Yeah, he's a little tubby.
Bob the cap catcher. And NBC made a big point of showing him walking through to the side of the pool, diving in, little beer belly right there over his kaleidoscope of a tiny Speedo. It was just a kerchief wrapped around Big Jim and the Twins, and the whole crowd gave the guy a huge ovation. I was just, what a great gig. What are you doing going to the Olympics? You got tickets? No, I'm the cap catcher. I'm Bob the cap catcher.
Oh, there it is.
Well, we've got the diver ready to go in and get it.
I mean, look at that right there. Is there anything better on the pool deck other than that Speedo right there?
Emma Weber may have lost a cap, but she's wearing more than one. See, does that guy get a name? The cap catcher?
That's what we need to call him, Bob the cap catcher. I like that.
Listen to that roar of that crowd. The French just love a man in a small Speedo. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, why is he wearing that? He could wear any kind of swim trunks.
He could wear anything. It reminds me of my Uncle Gilles. That's great. I just love that guy. I mean, seriously, you're on international television. Just with that, looking at him, it reminds me of the joke as a kid. Dunlap's disease. What is that? Is when my belly Dunlapped over my belt or something? There was like a... Anyway, what are you going to do? Check this out. Seeing as how it's summer and we're all looking for ways to beat the heat, Tulsa, Oklahoma, there's a park, a public park called Chandler Park, and they've got a splash pad, a little water feature, like in the middle of a park. You know, it's just a series of things for you to bring your toddlers and little kids. It's like fountains that they can just splash around in, a little splash pad. They've had to close the splash pad 7 times already this summer. Nasty. Not because of broken parts and not because of a drought where they don't have enough water to serve it. They're doing that because of all the bodily fluids in the water. They're saying, guys, the water's recycled and the water has to be filtered, and that takes up to 6 hours. And apparently they can't keep the kids from peeing in the splash pad. It's a hot summer day and it's kids in the water.
Yeah.
How is this a surprise?
Yeah, it's not adults in there. They don't know any better. This is how we build their immune system.
We have closed 7 times due to bodily fluids in the water.
I've been here and we're told that we can't go in, and that's really disappointing because you got your kids all sunscreened up and ready, and then you get here and you have to explain to them that we can't play.
Well, let's let them pee on each other.
I mean, come on. It's a big splash park. There's water flying all over the place. It's the least of your concerns. I mean, it's not like it's giving you a bloody Whopper from Burger King.
No.
Which we've already discussed if you're just joining us and wondering what the hell he's talking about. Cobb County, Georgia, that's just north of Atlanta.
If you say so.
I trust me, I've spent plenty of time there, baby. Emergency crews were called in to find a man who fell down a well 50 feet. That's a deep well, and that's a long 50 feet down into any situation is pretty serious. Dude was apparently looking for his cell phone. He had been walking through the woods, lost his phone earlier that day, went back to search for it. It was after dark that he went back to search for it. Maybe he had a flashlight with him, I guess. But the police got a call. 911 got a call. A guy said, "Hey, my dad went looking for his phone and he hasn't come home yet. He's out in the woods somewhere." EMTs, officers found the man's vehicle parked nearby. They were walking through the woods and they heard his phone. While searching, one officer then heard screams. He was at the bottom of a 50-foot deep well.
Well, when you've got a 50-foot well out there in the woods, the old well, make sure you put like a thin little piece of plyboard over it or something. Maybe just some brush.
You'd think. By the way, I mentioned maybe a flashlight. No, he did not have a flashlight. He was just walking in the woods and in the dark looking for his phone.
What? All right.
Okay.
Are you sure that's what he was doing out there in the woods?
Yeah, that's a likely story.
This is Lieutenant Steve Bennett. Maybe he has a little information for us.
Police showed up they heard his phone while they were walking through the woods, and they were calling for him. And then one of the officers thought he heard something and went and found the gentleman had fallen into about a 50-foot well.
I never fell into a well, but fun fact, true story. I had to be rescued in Cobb County, Georgia, in the woods once with my wife, driving on an old logging road in an off-road all-wheel drive vehicle, and there was a tiny little what looked to be a very small mud puddle. There was an underwater creek, as they say, like an underwater source that I was unaware of, and I just drove right through it, and the car just immediately sank.
What?
It was like quicksand. It was like being in quicksand.
Oh, wow.
Sank up to almost the door handle level. Like literally in a matter of hey, what's going on? Why'd this car stop? And I'm trying to figure it out. And all of a sudden I'm like, we're sinking.
Yeah.
What in the hell's happening? And it just went all the way down, but to couldn't open the doors. I mean, it was crazy. And this is early 90s, and thankfully had not a cell phone, but a car phone, which I never used because I used it once and then got a bill for $300. I made 3 phone calls and it was literally $300. So I never even turned the thing on. Turned it on, thankfully had a signal, and I'm like, what kind of dumbass takes a big off-road cool vehicle like this and gets it stuck in the one water he sees? And I called and I was like, yeah, I'm stuck out here. And then they had to bring a big truck and pull it out, and but we couldn't get out of the car. We're in the car for 2 hours, just sitting there if this thing sinks any further, we're going to have to go through the sunroof. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life.
Yeah, it's going to be the lead story on the local FM radio show.
Thank God. Thank God I had shaved my head in a blind fit of drunken rage. If I had been long haired dude, they would have been like, "What are you playing a band?" And then it would have been terrible.
Yeah,
it's hard to feel cool when you're like, oh, anyway, I was just going through this puddle and apparently just didn't have the guts to really gun it, and I just sunk the car. Sorry.
Being rescued, that comes with a certain amount of humility. I think each time, even if that's nature coming to get you every once in a while. Yeah. But who wants to be rescued?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if it's something silly or if it's a legitimate situation that would catch any of us. The idea that you're calling for help, it just violates everything in your DNA.
It's like it's like your wife hiring a handyman to come into the house to fix something. You're like, I was gonna do that.
Yeah. I got over that one. I'll be honest. I had to let that one go.
I welcome that
because I was like, yeah, I can do it 82% well. But 100% is better.
Yeah.
Then I don't wonder. I don't spend the rest of my life wondering when it's going to break again. Just get someone else in there to do it. I almost had to be rescued this morning. I got stung by a wasp, and I thought about calling paramedics. That was pretty I mean, I hadn't even had coffee yet. I mean,
you just wanted to show off your behind.
Don't tell me I haven't lived on the edge. By the way, don't they sleep? What the hell's a wasp doing up at 4:30?
Well, maybe it woke him up and he was pissed.
Yeah, he's wondering the same thing about you.
Chauncey woke me up and I was pissed, so that checks out.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. A lot of concerts, man. Okay, so last night you had Foo Fighters. You got Motley Crue coming to the fair. You got Def Leppard with Journey coming to Target Field. You got Green Day coming to Target Field. You got Metallica 2 nights at US Bank Stadium. And you also have Extreme and Living Color a little later, September 22nd at the Mystic Showroom. A lot of concerts. That one in particular is going to be well worth your time. And I have a little bit more information about that show. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Monday, July the 29th. Let's see, September 22nd, a little less than 2 months from right now, at the Mystic Showroom, Extreme and Living Color. That's two bands who both bands have spectacular guitarists. Nuno Betancourt and Vernon Reid.
There you go.
Badasses both. They'll be playing Mystic Showroom September 22nd. We would love to have a listener pick up a couple of tickets. We're going to play Beat the Toaster right now. We need 2 callers, number 9 and 2. Callers 9 and 2. Hit us up at 651-989-ROCK. The callers 9 and 2 will be locked in. We will play Beat the Toaster. We enjoy Beat the Toaster. Well, we enjoy your pain and angst as you play Beat the Toaster. It's actually kind of stressful for us here as well at the KQ Morning Show. It's man. But you know what? We like to get the week off on the right foot on a Monday with Beat the Toaster.
Yeah.
Some people absolutely nail this, though. They just have the stream of consciousness going, and it's like their easiest game.
They're smart.
Yeah.
They get it.
Yeah.
All right.
So, smart and cool under pressure.
Yeah.
That's the key. That TikTok thing. Just as soon as I hear the clock ticking down, it just elevates the heart rate.
Piece of toast over the weekend.
Did you?
Timed it. 4.5 minutes. Just saying. I think we're quick on the trigger. I don't know.
We've got nuclear powered toaster.
Getting,
you know what? This is a real thing with my wife and I. We don't have a toaster.
No?
Move to Minnesota,
I don't either. I have an air fryer. I do it in my air fryer. I put it on the toast setting. It has every setting. Over 600 settings on that thing.
600?
Yeah.
Wow. You tried them all?
Yeah.
Are you being serious?
No, I'm not at all.
Okay. I was going to say.
There's like 8, though.
But I didn't realize you could do toast in an air fryer.
Oh,
This is changing everything.
You can
all
do
of a sudden.
anything you want. You want to solve some meaningless issue in your life? Toaster.
Wow.
Air fryer, I mean.
Go figure. Air fryer. Whatever.
Air
fryer. Toast
air
in the air fryer.
Yeah.
Fry in the toaster.
Not even a fryer.
All right. Are we good to go? Do we have a couple of contestants locked in?
Yep. The time is now for Beat the Toaster. It's very exciting. It's very challenging. Here's what we do. We pop a hypothetical slice of bread into the toaster right here in the studio. We're going to give you a category. Then you name as many things that pop into your head as possible in 15 seconds before the toast pops. So go ahead and beat the toaster.
Oh, it's good living. It's the way we like to do it. All right. Who's contestant number 1?
Number 1, say hello to Pat.
Pat, good morning.
Good morning.
How's your day so far, brother?
It's just starting, but so far so good for a Monday anyway.
Yeah, Pat, are you a fan of toast?
Oh yeah, I eat toast occasionally.
All right, fair enough. That's all we need. It doesn't have to be every day or even every week, but occasionally is what we're looking for. All right, Pat, we've got Extreme and Living Color tickets right here on the table. It's time for you to play Beat the Toaster round 1. Good luck, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Pat, why don't you tell us as many as you can name before the toast pops? Brands of shampoo, go.
Brands of shampoo, Suave. Head and Shoulders. VO5.
There's the toast.
VO5.
VO5. That's a throwback. Suave, Head and Shoulders, VO5. Right. That is definitely 3 shampoos. Yeah, it's a tough one. A tough one to start off the morning with, Pat. But that's a pretty good job. 3 is that's not at all off the average for round 1 on Beat the Toaster. Well done, sir.
It's in the game.
Pat, we're going to put you on hold for a quick second, and we'll go to contestant number 2 for their first round. Who we got, Tony?
Our buddy Rich from Prior Lake.
Rich, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We're great, brother. How's your day so far? Everything good?
It is. Everything's great. Looking forward to the week.
You a fan of toast?
I love toast.
Attaboy. All right. I mean, I'm not going to ask you if you like Extreme or Living Color. We assume that much. Right. It's really all about the toast.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, round 1. You can choose to look at it like a warm-up round. It seems to be how it works around here. Good luck to you, sir.
All right, he just took a big inhale. All right, Richie Rich, here's your category. Before the toast pops, name for us some things that are inflatable. Go.
Swimming pool, air mattress, balloon, a Zeppelin, inner tube, a tire.
There's the toast.
Wow! All right, the toast is popped. I like the separation, balloon and Zeppelin. That's very good.
There you go. Yeah, Zeppelin in there.
Inner tube and tire. That's not the same thing.
No, there are some tires that are inflatable, and of course, tubes, inner tubes.
So what that means is, Rich, by my count, you got 6 right there, brother. Very well played.
Awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome. All right, we're going to go back to Pat Rich, so sit tight. Pat, it's time for round 2 of Beat the Toaster. We wish you all the best, brother.
Pat, you with us this morning? Yeah, he's in the starting blocks. Yeah.
All right, here we go, Pat. Round 2.
Pat, here you go. So you're in Paris for the Olympics, which is cool, and you stroll by a place called Pierre's American Food Restaurant. You go in. What's on the menu? Go.
Spaghetti, protein bars, protein shakes, steak, hamburger, French fries, T-shirt.
There's the toast.
Yeah. All right, the steak is popped. Spaghetti, a lot of spaghetti, protein bars, protein shake, steak, hamburger, French fries. Even in France, that is considered, I think, an American thing at this point. We've taken those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got 6 on round 2. So you doubled yourself up, Pat. Very well done, sir. That's a total of 9.
Nice.
So you're sitting in pretty good shape right there, brother. Well played.
All right, thank you.
You got it. All right, sit tight, Pat. We're going back to Rich. Rich, it is time for round 2. You got 6 in the first time around, so you need 3 to tie. 4 will get you the win. Best of luck, sir.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Rich, let's go. There's a new band in town. It's not the Foo Fighters. It's the Foo Blankers. The Foo something else that starts with an F. Be careful, please. Go.
The Foo Brickers, the Foo Fools, the Foo Finale, that's a PH, the Foo Finals, Foo Friends, the Foo
Host.
Fooders.
Wow.
Got friends in there. So Freakers, Fools, Finals, Friends. I think you just got in under the bell with 4. That's going to do it, Rich. That puts you at 10 total. You have won the tickets to Extreme and Living Color, my man. Very well played.
Awesome. Thank you.
Pat, very, very close. You missed out by 1. But, gentlemen, I want to thank you both for playing. Well done. That's a good one. And Tony, the fact, anytime you have to say, please be careful.
Yes, I had to throw that in.
You're doing something right.
A little disappointed, to be honest with you, but that's all right.
I was expecting it. I was full on.
I know. I was like, if he doesn't say it, I'm going to.
I was waiting for that, and nobody had blow-up doll. I was also waiting for blow-up doll during inflatables.
Oh, yeah. I saw that.
What'd you call me?
Yeah.
So the Olympics, as we've been discussing off and on throughout the day, going on in Paris right now, getting our Olympic. I said last week, and it's true. My daughter Marley, she's flying up to Minneapolis as we speak. She's coming up to spend a few days with mom and dad. And in texting yesterday, making sure she had her flight info, blah blah blah. I said, "You watching the Olympics?" And it was like, "Nah."
Nope.
Yeah, the younger generation. I mean, maybe that's just we just didn't do our job by forcing them to watch the Olympics, but it just never. I mean, 2012 London Games we watched a lot of as a family, and then clearly by the time the next ones rolled around, they had just crossed some Rubicon and they just didn't care again.
Well, we were kids this time of the year. You had, of course, baseball was on, but you're like, all right, there's another baseball game, so it's kind of a mix it up thing. It was like I said, it was available. There wasn't 12 literally million other things to watch.
That's exactly what it was. I remember my first Olympic memories are 72. The Munich Games. I remember Mark Spitz, winning all the gold medals.
Mark Spitz, sure.
And the horrible incident, the PLO with the Israeli athletes. I remember hearing all about that.
I didn't know about that until the made-for-TV movie.
And when that was happening in my mind as a 7-year-old, I was picturing it happening by the pool where Mark Spitz was. I was combining those two things. But then 76. Innsbruck Winter Olympics and Montreal Summer Olympics. Those were I was 11. I was all dialed in, man. I didn't miss a minute of that coverage in 76. That was the first one I was really 100% all for.
Yeah, my kiddos are into it. They've been watching it, loving the basketball and gymnastics.
Yeah. My son is watching the basketball. He's very focused in on that. Was there an Olympics question you had, Tony? Is that am I getting my wires crossed?
A question?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Why are they happening?
Why? Well, because because Coca-Cola and Lilly want to make money with advertising. There are some terms. There are things you're going to hear during the Olympic Games. It's probably best that we just clarify a few things. I've already heard at least twice the word shuttlecock thrown around, and I just want to make sure we all understand.
Public transportation in Europe is a wonderful thing.
It certainly is. You can get your junk across town in a blink of an eye.
They will shuttle any genital across town quickly.
The small projectile, not in your hands, as Paul Lynn might have said. That's a wheel of fortune. That's a Hollywood Squares moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Paul. Center Square Paul Lynn. What do they call the thing you hit in badminton? It's in my pants. The small projectile that players hit back and forth in badminton, also known as a birdie.
Yeah, I've never heard anyone but a morning DJ call it a shuttlecock in every 4 years.
Did you ever have the badminton set?
Oh, yeah.
Did the Zeps play badminton?
The Zeps in Pennsylvania did, so that was the big thing. We'd go back there, not the South Dakota Zeps. We wouldn't. We'd be shooting the birdie. But there in Pennsylvania, when we went back, they'd have all sorts of lawn games. We didn't do lawn games in South Dakota, but they had all the lawn games. They had badminton and the one where you hit the wooden ball through the little croquet, if you say so, and that kind of stuff.
Tony, we're the Lees of badminton family?
Yeah, we have one right now.
Oh,
Play it often.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, love it. It's silly. You look like just a dope.
Yeah, sure you do. I remember getting the badminton set by trading in S&H green stamps.
Wow.
How about that? Yeah. Sent away like 50 magazines full of 50 little booklets full of stamps, and then a badminton set. The rackets would break within 4 minutes of the first game. Just completely ridiculous.
Really just try and nail that thing and hit your brother with it, the birdie or whatever, and there was nothing. It's like a wiffle ball, just nothing. Trying to punch someone in a dream,
Weightlifting goes down every 4 years at the Olympics. A lot of terms there you're going to hear. Clean and jerk. It's a perfectly acceptable and appropriate sporting term for weightlifting.
Leave my weekend out of it.
Another weightlifting move where the barbell is lifted from the ground to overhead in one smooth motion. That's the snatch.
Yeah, no, that's not how they say it. That snatch. They always yell it at the Olympics. It's like this is our one chance to yell snatch, I guess. But there's that.
I don't believe that.
Oh, they just yell it.
Also in weightlifting, there's something called hooking. Hooking, by the way, there's hooking in weightlifting. Otherwise, hooking in Paris right now, no, they're cracking down on prostitution during the Olympic Games.
Is that what they said?
That's what they said. The police, the Parisian police, the flic, they said, no, we're not letting you do that. We're gonna be cracking down. The population does, of course, swell over the next 2 weeks. See what I did there? Swelling population. But French police are cracking down hard. There's a special task force to make sure there's no illegal hanky-panky going on in the city. Extra officers undercover are in areas known to be popular with sex workers, cabarets, checkpoints. It's also called just simply Paris. It doesn't matter what part of town you're in. You look at any street corner. You're going to see stiletto heels and cigarettes being smoked, and I assume that means prostitution.
Till this absolute very moment, I'm being sincere, I had no idea it was illegal in Paris or France.
The truth is, I didn't know either.
Yeah.
The sex workers are not happy. They're receiving support from some nonprofit organizations. They're saying, "Hey, police, why don't you focus more on the people who take advantage of sex workers and rob them and mug them and Johns who don't pay, instead of looking after the people who are just making a living in a pretty tough situation."
Vice cops are really just looking for a handy to let you go. You're not going to get that from the Johns, I don't think. They have the Paralympics are following the Olympics every 4 years. So then right after that, have like your prostitution Olympics. You give them a little something. Maybe that third week.
I got a feeling that the ratings would not suffer.
No, hell no. We've talked about it before. I'm waiting for the juicing Olympics where all, banned substances are on the table, and then follow that, chase that with your prostitution Olympics, and I predict ratings will skyrocket past Super Bowl levels.
There have been people who've attempted to put on juiced games. You know, they every few years you see somebody's like, oh, we're going to put together. We want to see how great, how far can the human body go? And I'm with you on that. I'm perfectly fine with two. Give me the real Olympics and then give me the juiced Olympics. They don't have to cross the streams. I'm not going to wonder which one's real or more legit. They're both just entertainment for me.
Right.
I don't I'm watching events. I'm getting emotional watching people celebrated for things I don't care about right now. So add to the fact that they're just getting as many steroids as they want. I'm going to pay attention to that.
Let's see what happens.
I can't imagine what could possibly go wrong. Hey, you know what you can do this morning? You can join KQ and Lisa Miller. Our good friend Lisa Miller will be at the Brooklyn Center Cricket Wireless from 10 a.m. to noon today. And if you show up and say hi to Lisa, you can also meet the current women's world champion WWE wrestler Liv Morgan. And win tickets to cheer her on at the XL Energy Center tonight. Go say hey to Lisa Miller at the Brooklyn Center Cricket Wireless from 10 to noon today. If you're not listening to Lisa Miller, you're doing radio wrong. I'll just say that.
Yeah, you are. And but everybody listens to Lisa Miller. Liv Morgan, WWE. Barbie, what's the actress's name?
Margot Robbie?
Yeah, she looks just like Margot Robbie, but, if Margot Robbie was tough.
That's the first I've heard of this. I will be Googling during the break. Quick note to our friends in emergency services. You never know when that bell's going to ring, so maybe stick to iced tea. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Monday, July the 29th. Good morning. Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven. Hey, that's 8 minutes of frivolity.
Right.
Boy. Jimmy Page worked on that song for months and months and months, like 18 months. He had an idea in his mind. He had the arrangement, I guess, before the parts. He thought, he was sitting there going, I want to do a song that starts off with acoustic music, kind of folk, and then moves into a middle section, and then goes into a blistering solo. And then, he had it. He just saw the vision, if you will. And then worked it over.
After Spirit opened for him.
And yeah, exactly. And then months and months and months of just tinkering and tooling, and then they finally get it recorded. And then before Led Zeppelin 4 was released, on a handful of occasions, Led Zeppelin played that song live for audiences who had obviously never heard it.
Right.
And they said every time they did that, the reception was the same. Just sheer boredom. The audience looking at them going, what is this? What are you doing?
All right.
Even Led Zeppelin was like, until people are familiar with it, they don't care. They don't want to know it.
It's a thing. It's real.
I can remember as a kid hearing about that song and knowing that song existed, and just the myth around I was afraid of Led Zeppelin. I really was as a little kid. I mean, all that stuff about, Aleister Crowley and black magic and hoodoo spells and this and that and the other.
Sharks.
All that was just filtered through whatever it got through the cheesecloth of my universal radar and just scared me. The first time I can remember very clearly hearing Misty Mountain Hop. I was probably 8 or 9 and thinking, well, this is kind of fun. What is this?
I'm okay.
And my brother said, that's Led Zeppelin. I was like, oh, no, I'm not supposed to listen to this.
It's naughty.
And then he said, no, they're just a rock band like any other. I was like, really? Are you sure?
Just a rock band like any other.
That's pretty much. When I was playing shows with Jimmy Page, with my former band, the Black Crowes, I said to Jimmy once, we were just talking as you do, and somebody referenced something about all that stuff, all the black magic and you putting spells on people and
the myths,
and how you guys had made a deal with the devil and all this. And he just said they were and Jimmy and Robert both, those guys are like just super sweet. They're just like, oh, hello, how's it going? Would you like some tea? I mean, that's just kind of how they are privately. And Jimmy said they were just absolutely mystified by all of that. He said, we did our first American tour. we went back to England and we started reading American magazines, and there were stories of us, the parties and the groupies and the drugs and the hedonism. And he said, none of that happened on our first American tour. It just, word got out that we were living this bacchanalia every night. And he goes, it was news to us. But then we came back the second time, and then all those people turned up for the party. We were like, oh, well, okay. He goes, it did happen, but not at first. And he said they couldn't believe it. And anyway, back to all the dark black magic stuff. He was talking about how that was another thing they used to laugh about. They were like, this is so ridiculous. And I was sitting there, and another guy at the table said, did you ever think about, like, saying in an interview, like, none of that's true? And he literally goes, do you know how many records we sold because of that nonsense?
Of course.
It's like always pragmatic.
Yeah. Absolutely. We finally got around to suing somebody, I think, there at the end of the 90s. About that whole satanic thing with John Bonham. And
that one, that rubbed him, as well it should have. That pissed him off.
Well, yeah, that would do it. That he had somehow caused John Bonham's death with a satanic ritual and cursed him or some
performed
BS
a spell over his body and all that.
Finally said, all right, enough is enough.
Yeah, that's enough of that one. We were on the road in the summer of 2000. Jimmy Page and the Black Crowes, and we played in Milwaukee at Summerfest, and it was supposed to be a day off on the tour, but we added a festival, and long story short, we had to have a chartered flight for the band and crew to all walk off stage, get right on a plane, because we had to be in New Jersey the next night. That's way too far to drive. Mm-hmm. We got to the plane midnight or so in Milwaukee, and the pilot came on and said, we can't go. And we were like, what are you talking about? And he said, the co-pilot had a few drinks. and it had not been the 8 or 10 hours, whatever the time was.
You guys kind of sprung this on him.
He said, sorry, we're not, it's too close. We're not outside of the window.
He's the co-pilot.
And I can't take off until, we have to wait 6 or 8 hours.
Technicality.
And it was just like, oh, for the love. And of course, we're literally saying, like, you just fly. What's the guy got to do? The guy's not like falling down drunk. We're literally like, what's a big deal? But, hey,
nothing ever happens to bands and planes.
No, exactly. Especially when one of the two members of the crew who can fly the thing had a few too many. I'm reminded of that because this story out of Petersburg, Virginia, a firefighter, not exactly an airline pilot, but somebody whose job you might say a little more important in that there's far more people.
They depend on them.
Yeah, a Virginia firefighter is on what they're calling administrative leave following a crash. He was driving a fire engine and he smashed into a parked car.
Oops.
At the scene of the incident, police showed up and they were like, let's give this guy a breathalyzer. He blew a .145.
Who did? The firefighter?
The firefighter.
Oh, man.
Apparently, afterwards, he admitted to, before his shift that day, drinking 18 beers.
18? Oh, wow.
You know how they get away from you. You're going to have one.
Sure.
18 later.
Yowza.
What? He's 18. On the clock with 18. All right.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe an actual firefighter could. That's one of those like 1 day on, 2 day off gigs, right?
I have no idea. I know that you go down to the firefighting station there and you hang out.
Yeah, when you're on call for a while.
Yeah,
then you get a nice long break and then you come back in. Yeah, it seems to me that if you're a firefighter, you don't get the schedule doesn't sneak up on you. Is my point. So,
and it's a little greedy. There's other firefighters at the station. Leave a few beers behind, if you would, please.
You would think.
More chili, less beer. 18 frickin' beers, and then the alarm goes off. There had to be an crap moment for him. Like,
I would think.
But 18 beers later, you're thinking, I got this. I'll just ease her on in there.
Maybe
I've got the lights.
The worst thing would be if he weren't actually on the schedule, but he was just so schnockered. He was like, I guess I'll just go to work. And hey, Mike, you're not supposed to be here right now. Oh, there's the bell.
Everybody else is getting dressed, and Mike just comes dashing. Hey, Mike, whoa.
Yeah.
I got to grab the Dalmatian.
What about the fire?
No word on what he was responding to.
Yeah, just let him piss it out. He probably could have just,
For all we know, he was just wanted to hear the sirens go, and he just jumped in the truck. And he did hit a parked car. The parked car, there was no one in the parked car, thankfully, so there were no injuries reported to go alongside this.
He's in trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble. Yeah, that's not what you're looking for. Speaking of weird things people are doing, there's a apartment building in Toronto, Canada. our neighbors up north. Okay, first things first. We already talked about the story today. The Canadian women's soccer team at the Olympics is in trouble because they've been spying on other teams' practice sessions. The Canadian national team was going to play against New Zealand and apparently flew camera-loaded drones over New Zealand's practice and got caught.
Oh, Canada.
Well, of course you get caught.
First things first, but how do you get caught? You don't have the sense to put your drone pilot somewhere real far away. So even if someone follows the drone, they think it's just some. I don't know how you trace
Maybe it had a
drone
maple
back
leaf
to
on
its
the
source.
drone.
Yeah, the team logo.
Made in Canada.
Yeah. What's her name? The great player Sinclair. Her face is on the drone. The maple leaf. So they're in all kinds of trouble. First of all, when Canada cheats, you know that there's just like what hope is there for the rest
It was
of
New
us?
Zealand. Do you have to cheat to beat New Zealand?
Thank you. I mean, it's not rugby; it's soccer. That's not what they're. That's rugby. I get it.
I'm just a quick diversion here. The American rugby team has a gal on that team, the female American rugby team that had a big win over the weekend. I'm like, I don't know if I'll watch rugby, but I was watching the highlights with Mike Tirico.
That's fun.
And holy frickin' cow, Signer Vikings. Here's your fullback right here. They were playing Japan, the United States women's rugby team playing Japan. There was literally no one. They didn't even try after a while. Half the Japanese players were like, no, give her a free pass. I'm not getting in front of that Newt Rockney or whatever. I mean, the Galloping Ghost. She's amazing. Suddenly now I'm watching women's rugby all the way through.
Another thing I will do, I could not care less about rugby unless it's on TV. And then I will just go I'll sit there for 2 hours.
Yeah, don't understand it, but so fun to watch.
When I was, I toured with a Welsh band called Stereophonics for a while, and they are all rugby fanatics. And we would be, any number of places, and there'd be a TV on, and they would get on. And there was two types. There's rugby union and rugby league. I learned all this 20 years ago, and I've forgotten most of it. The difference between the two games. But watching rugby with a bunch of rugby fans there's not much better. It's real because I did kind of understand a lot of. Oh, I see what's happening here. I mean, anybody you can put it on TV and figure out the gist. But I mean, a lot of the specifics and the real, getting into the nitty gritty of the game and the nuance of things, just outstanding.
Ilona Maher, that's, and I don't even know if I'm getting the first name right, but that's Maher is her last name. And I don't know if they're going to get a gold. You got Australia, New Zealand, Britain have all these great rugby teams. That's what they're known for. But if you get a chance, watch this gal run with the ball. Is that what they call it, a ball? I don't know. That big overinflated football. Something Brady might throw.
Yeah.
And, boy, she's a marvel.
Come give your mama a kiss.
Yeah.
You know what? I saw her last week. I didn't know she was a rugby player. I'm looking at the same thing you are. I'm like, I saw her. Something viral happened last week. Oh, people were saying she looked like Brooke Shields.
Yeah, she's got a Brooke Shields thing going on.
At a quick glance in a darkened room, sure.
With a much tougher bod.
Yeah, she could take Brooke Shields. I don't think there's any question
out of
right
Burlington, Vermont.
The rugby players I knew in college, this is going back 40 years when I was a college student, they were just the guys who couldn't make other team sports. It was like, I couldn't make the football team, so I'll play rugby. But then they all embraced the game, and a bunch of rugby players had a house together, which was called, wait for it, the Rugby House. And I used to play there. I had this my cover band in college. We would play parties at the Rugby House, and we changed the name of the band every show, which really gets in the way of building a following. We learned a lot about marketing and promotion when we had a different band name every show, but it was also part of the shtick. I can't imagine they were good at rugby, but they were really good at acting like a good rugby team, by which I mean they drank like absolute sailors. And there were more than a handful of parties where there would always be something would catch fire.
Yeah.
It might be just be one piece of paper, but it also might be a chair. There was always a fire involved. And we were always like, towards the end of the night, you'd be like, no, you can't. Okay, go ahead and sing. Just get over it. They're going to take over. And they're probably going to beat us up if we don't let them do exactly what they want to do.
Yeah.
But so that was my introduction to rugby. But then much later in life, actually seeing real rugby. I've never seen it live, but I would absolutely go see it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I mean, it does kind of make, it makes football look a little pussy. Just a little bit. I mean, they're doing it all without pads.
Yeah, they certainly are. When I was out with this Welsh band and we would watch rugby and they would talk about that same thing, like, well, football, you guys got pads and helmets, it's not the same. And I would always say, yeah, that's true, but like the guys in the NFL, that's a different level of athleticism and steroid use that you rugby players just are not. You guys are just not prepared for.
Yeah, and those NFL guys can't be running into each other without helmets and pads. It would just bones would disintegrate.
But I used to watch it and just think like I would have give Barry Sanders a rugby ball and then tell me who's please for the love of God, somebody pull Barry Sanders out of a time machine in 1996 and put him on a rugby field. I'd like to see that.
Watched the game over the weekend and one of the guys actually he got a red card and was tossed from the game for too hard a hit.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even know they did that.
I like him. Steelers, you hear that out there? Sign them.
I've never seen rugby live. I did see Australian rules football in Melbourne, Australia. I walked down in Australia the first time in 1992.
That's just a street fight, right? Is there a ball involved?
Man, you tell me. I saw it in person. I'd seen it as a kid on TV here. But then I woke up one day at a hotel. It's like a Sunday, and I opened the window. It's like a Holiday Inn, and right across the street is the Olympic Stadium from the 1956 Summer Olympics in Melbourne. And I see tons of people. I go down to the lobby. I'm like, "What's going on?" He goes, "It's a football game, Mike." And I said, "Okay." And I walk over just by myself. Couldn't get anybody to go with me. Paid for my ticket, sat in the stadium, and watched. To your point, yes, just a Donnybrook. what looked like a bar fight played out, but with like 22 or 28 guys on a field, beating the living snot out of each other, chasing around a huge ball, and the thing that I thought was so funny was I'm watching the game and I can follow, again, the gist. I get the point. You're trying to move the ball downfield. You're kicking it, you're throwing it, you're catching it, you're smashing people with your elbows. And every now and again, in the middle of a play, the entire stadium would just roar in appreciation for something that I had no idea. It's like the ball didn't change hands. There wasn't a pick set. I didn't see this. And I was looking around like, what are you guys all cheering about? I never quite, there was a few times, and I was sitting next to a guy, and I was,
a foot turned the wrong way or
exactly,
something?
I don't know. I asked a couple times, I said, what did I just miss? And he'd go, and it was like words that you look, the hook there put his dingle out on the cherry picker. Like, okay, sure, thanks. But really entertaining, but I did come away from that thinking, yeah, this is just a penal colony, and this was invented in the prison yard as a way to weed out the population.
That's what happens when you drop apparently incredibly good-looking criminals off on a continent halfway around the world. Because
great gene pool.
Yeah,
My God, there's some handsome and beautiful people down there.
Lord.
Go figure. We've got a few things we need to share with you to get your day off on the right foot, including a major KQ Morning Show announcement. We will be right back with that. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. Good Monday morning. It is July the 29th. A lot of things going on in the world. The Olympics have just been roaring all weekend long. Let's get your day off on the right foot. If you're just joining us, we've got your top 5 at 9, the top things you know to start your day. We've mentioned a couple times already that we had a big announcement to make in the 9 o'clock hour. Let's go ahead, shall we?
Yeah.
If we could have the equivalent of a drum roll. Just pretend there's a drum roll happening.
All right.
Check it out. KQ Up North. This very show, the KQ Morning Show, we are going to hit the road for another long weekend. KQ Up North with Hoffman Weber Construction.
Yeah.
October 3rd through the 6th at Cragun's Resort on Gull Lake. Hell yeah. We did it last year, and guess what? It was awesome.
Yeah, it was a blast up there.
We're going to do it again this year. You can join us for a broadcast of the KQ Morning Show. There will be a karaoke party. There will be a dinner cruise, live music, and a lot of fun with the KQ crew. You can book your stay right now at 92kqrs.com. Again, sponsored by Hoffman Weber Construction and Cragen's Resort on Gull Lake.
Anybody can come.
Anybody can come.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, it doesn't get any more classic up north Minnesota than Cragen's and that resort. And there's a few things to do up there too.
Yeah, that was my first time up north, and man, it was fantastic. I look forward to that.
I do want to say about the broadcast, sitting at the side table, a lot of people would come over to me or to the bosses and stuff like that and say, hey, can I buy the KQ Morning Show a drink while they're on the air?
Yes, you may.
Yes, they
Make
can.
it a double.
Stop asking the boss. Just buy us the drink.
Yeah, right.
It's fine. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't wait for permission.
No.
Because once it's on the table, it would be
What are they
rude to
gonna
refuse
do?
it. Yeah, exactly.
So, skip asking.
In fact,
just bring him to the table.
Maybe you buy the boss one too. What the hell? The sooner we get our boss drunk, the better time all of us are going to have.
Excellent. Yeah, good plan.
It's funny. When I took the job up here, they give you that welcome packet, and on page 1 it says just keep the boss drunk. So I was like, wow, this is a whole different vibe. I think I'm going to like this job.
Not bad. Yeah, it's going to be a great time again.
Yes.
That's going to be more of an autumnal situation as it's October.
Right.
But one thing that will carry over from the summer is that, for me anyway, it's pretty much all about the beer. Beer, number 2 on your top 5 at 9, still ruling for summer consumption. 2/3 of drinkers in the U.S. say they have beer first when it comes down to the summer months. Well, no, just when choosing an alcoholic beverage.
Yeah.
More than wine, more than spirits, more than cocktails. Summer, you got pool parties, you got lake hangs, you got barbecues, picnics, outdoor festivals. It's all about the beer. 40% of all beer sales happen between Memorial and Labor Day in this country.
That many? Wow.
40%. Holy smokes.
That surprises me or not. What else would you want to wash your Jell-O shot down with?
Good. That's a very good point. By the way, the Beer Institute says that the U.S. beer industry contributes over $400 billion annually to America's economy. That is 1.6% of our gross domestic product.
That's right.
Yeah.
Keep those wheels of commerce turning out there.
And the beer industry pays more than $132 billion in wages and $64 billion in taxes. So, yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus, and he recommends that you continue to support our friends in the beer industry.
Okay.
It's just good for everybody.
Yep.
If you find yourself behind the wheel of a 2022 or 2023 Toyota Tundra truck, or if you happen to be driving a 22 or 23 Lexus LX 600, heads up. Number 3 on our top 5 at 9, Toyota has done a bit of a recall. They said over 100,000 Tundra pickups and 3,500 luxury SUVs, the LX 600 from Lexus. There's an issue with the engine. They're losing power while driving. And they said a couple months ago, we're going to figure out how to fix this. Well, they figured it out. They're going to replace the entire engine on 103,000 vehicles.
That sounds spendy to me and time-consuming. And I wonder, before they replace all these engines, how many executives were replaced at Toyota and Lexus? Holy wow.
In some of these vehicles, listen to this, debris from the manufacturing process may have been left inside the engine, and it leads to banging or popping noises, the engine not running smoothly, and even stalling altogether while driving.
Yeah, not cool.
Not cool at all. They're going to replace the engine, of course, at no cost to the vehicle's owners. I cannot imagine how much that's going to cost.
I had some time. I mean, you can't just drop it off and they pop an engine in there in the afternoon. That's got to, I don't think. I mean, I don't know. Or do they just ship them back to the factory and they're all going to do it there because your local dealers can't, take on all that work? That seems like a major heart surgery to me, not being a wrench turner myself.
I would think, generally speaking, my life as a car owner, when you just got to get your car in for a tune-up, you got to book it a few days out.
Right.
Engine replacement? Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work.
Get a nice shiny new engine out of the deal. packed with all sorts of power.
Man. Here's your number 3 on your top 5 at 9. Some really cool dude or lady in Oak Grove, Minnesota, up in Anoka County, wins the blue ribbon for the day. They hit a mosquito helicopter with a golf ball. That was not an accident. I'm telling you right now, they were buzzing. So a Metropolitan Mosquito Control District helicopter was spraying for mosquitoes in Anoka County. They were over the Refuge Golf Club on Friday, and somebody, I'm a golfer myself. I know golfers. Somebody thought, let me see if I can hit that chopper, and they did. There were no injuries. There was slightly damaged a helicopter. The pilot was aware of it. He returned and landed right away. No big deal. Low-flying helicopters, they're applying a product to limit and try to kill some mosquitoes off. You know, they're keeping the larval mosquitoes from becoming adult mosquitoes, but really what they're doing is giving golfers something to aim for.
Yeah, it's like that big bowl cart in the sky to hit that. I don't know. I hit them thin. I don't hit them fat. I don't know if I could get the loft to get up there. I might have to just pick it up and try and throw it.
I mean, I think if you're spraying for mosquitoes and you're buzzing a golf course, you have to know that someone's going to make an effort.
I mean, it's a chopper. I hope a golf ball doesn't bring it down, for God's sakes.
Yeah, you would hope not.
Just a ding or two.
But anytime I or anybody ever is on a driving range and that kid hops in the little vehicle to go pick up all the balls off the range, everybody immediately just starts aiming. That's the whole point. That's why they have a kid in a safety encased golf cart picking up balls.
You get the driver down and you just tee it low and just here it comes. And they don't even look at you. They've got their headphones on. They don't know and they don't care. But isn't that weird that they're spraying out there the pesticides and all that stuff while the golfers are on the course? Whatever.
Maybe he was just over the trees off to the side.
Hard to say.
Yeah,
somebody might have really, clipped a big old launching slicer out there and dunk off the. I'm impressed.
I would be the guy going, I am so sorry. I don't know how that happened, while high-fiving everyone in my force. That'd be awesome.
I'd make you buy us a drink when we get into the clubhouse. That's kind of a hole-in-one thing-ish.
Oh, but put it this way. The hole-in-one, when you hit a hole-in-one, the hole's not moving. That helicopter's moving. It's a bigger target, but it's moving.
Donk.
I think that's pretty great myself. The Olympics are up and running over the weekend. We've all had the thing. We've all been talking about it this morning. You put on the TV and you think, well, let me just see what's going on. And next thing you know, in 90 minutes have passed. You've watched 3 sports you don't care about.
I do it.
I'm getting swept up with Olympic fever, as I always do. Just earlier this morning, I watched a couple of American women who had just competed in the 100-meter butterfly, which is 90 meters of butterfly more than I could do right now. They took gold and silver. They're on the medal stand together, and the gold winner said to the silver winner, step up here on the top platform with me for the anthem.
Yeah.
Arms around each other, both tears in their eyes. And it just my eyes well up when I see that. Anytime I see an athlete on that medal stand for any country and their national anthem is playing, I do it every time. I just think, my God, they've been toiling in anonymity for at least 4 years. They've been putting all this effort, and there's that reward. It's always just such a life-affirming moment. It's great. They say sometimes art imitates life imitates art. If you saw the movie Under Paris on Netflix recently, there was a triathlon happening, and then the swimming portion in the Seine River in Paris is interrupted by hundreds of human-hungry sharks in the movie Under Paris.
Sure.
And which makes for a real bloodbath.
I saw the trailer.
Oh, I watched the whole thing. It's the best horrible movie I've seen in a long time. This isn't exactly life imitating art in all caps, or art in quotes here. But the River Seine, which is where they do the swimming for the triathlon, you've got the swimming, the bicycling, and the running in the triathlon. The River Seine, which goes right through the heart of Paris, a little pollution is forcing the cancellation of training for this. This is the second day in a row. They have what they call familiarization sessions, where they get you in there so you can see where you're going to go, learn the course. It's not a pool, it's not just across a lake, it's in a river, and you got to know there's a couple turns and a couple places where the course shifts.
Makes sense.
So they let you get in the water and get used to it. For the second day in a row today, they have called it off. They said the water quality is still below an acceptable standard as far as health goes, they need to reiterate that priority is the health of these athletes. Here is what the problem is. It was testing just fine recently. However, a lot of rainfall over the past few days and forecast for the next 3 days. They do believe the water quality, or they don't believe the water quality suffers because when there's a ton of rainfall, I don't really know the ins and outs of the Paris sewage system, but sewage leaks into the Seine with too much rainfall. Untreated sewage has washed into the river, and it does seem to be getting in the way. So basically now they're saying if this continues, the triathlon at the Olympic Games will be a duathlon. They will just remove the swimming portion.
Yeah, what, about 2.5 miles or something?
And just do the biking and the running, which if I've been training for a triathlon all these years, I'd be pissed.
I'd be pissed. You mean all they're going to do is run 26.2 miles and bike about 112, 15, something like that?
That's it. Yeah,
that's all they're going to do.
You're going to remove their fun of the swimming part?
But I'd be pissed, too. I mean, come on, figure this out, can't you?
I would think you've had 4 years to prepare.
You get the rain, it's a river, there's some nature involved. We're filthy animals, probably none filthier than the Parisians, and you're going to have these kind of things. What happens over there, right? Or Nokomis, she goes over there and bathes almost every day. It's got the blue-green algae.
That's why it's got the problems now. It's just me bathing in the water.
Yeah, it's not, we've had too much rain, and mucks up the water here, I guess, a little bit in your heavily populated areas. Well, good luck to this. I see here, just breaking news this morning, Steve, you don't mind me saying, French authorities have arrested an activist who may have been involved in Friday's sabotage attacks that paralyzed the country's rail service just hours before the start of the Olympics. Yeah, they've got some of that going on over there. Troublemakers attracted to these big events. But
I believe you use the word miscreant. Miscreants have come in. They are not enjoying our train systems. And with the diet rich in goose liver, our sewage is running amok.
Probably Canadians, I'm thinking, over there.
Oh, man. Well, they're cheating on everything now.
And they have another act here of sabotage carried out today, targeting fiber optic networks of several telecommunication operators around France.
Oh, okay. Take it easy. It's probably the farmers. Boy, the French farmers love they love a good disruptive force. They will bring those tractors. I mean, I give them credit. Can you imagine if you turn on the TV and Midtown Manhattan was just tractors? I mean, they will row those tractors right into the heart of Paris and just be like, we don't care. No, you're shutting this city down. You're screwing with us. We're screwing with you. I mean, I don't know what the issues are, but I do know that I don't want to mess with a French farmer.
No, don't mess with it. Here in America, we make sure there's a check in the mailbox every once in a while.
Every so often.
God bless the farm bill.
Hey, Billy Joel and Sting are going to be rocking the stage together for one night this November in Las Vegas. You can score a trip for two. That's going to include round-trip airfare, a 2-night hotel stay, and tickets to the show at Allegiant Stadium. Billy Joel and Sting. Right now, why don't you text the national keyword night, as in one night only, not knight in shining armor. NIGHT. Text it to 95819 right now to enter for your chance to win. I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Monday, July the 29th. A lot of traditions, a lot of folklore, a lot of old wives' tales surrounding marriage and weddings and things you do for luck.
Yeah.
You know, something borrowed, something blue, something old, something new, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
My wife and I, we credited the good luck of our marriage so far as to we just went away and got married and didn't invite anybody. just really, didn't have all the stress and pressure of a giant wedding.
Right out of the gate, all that drama and the drama that leads up to it, and daughters and mothers fighting and all sorts of things. I only say that because I may have experienced some of that recently from afar. I've got a bleacher seat.
Sure.
Not in my own family.
We got the hell out of town, and then a month later we had a big party and invited people there. And so we'd already been married a month, so it was like, it was all just good. But here's one I've never heard of specifically, not so much about for this is something people are doing throughout the United Kingdom, and this isn't necessarily to bring you good luck for the marriage, but to specifically bring you good luck for the wedding, specifically more so good weather for your wedding. What do you do to ensure good wedding weather? Now, in the UK, that's a concern because it rains a lot over there.
Hold it inside.
It's just a dreary island populace made up of bulldog-faced... No, I'm sorry. Hang on. Sorry about that. I was about to go way off to the side there. No, but people apparently are doing. This is an old tradition. If you want good weather, then you bury a large sausage in the ground the night before your wedding, or as they say, plant a sausage. Come
on.
Yeah, long spherical hunks of meat the night before a wedding are normally on people's minds, but not in this way. They're saying a wedding content creator posted online, here's your reminder to plant a sausage the night before your wedding. It's supposed to keep the rain away on your wedding day, and it worked. And then all these people are weighing in going, oh, yeah, no, I did it. It totally worked.
Oh, does it?
Even though it was forecasting rain, apparently, and it doesn't matter what you want, bratwurst, you want a kielbasa, whatever you got.
Yeah.
Just plant it in the garden.
Yeah.
I'm
going to take the punchline, guys. If you aren't the low-hanging fruit here, I thought you were supposed to bury the sausage on your wedding night.
Heyo.
So
I didn't want to steal that one from you.
No, thanks.
Does it matter where you bury it?
Well, yeah, nearby. Does it have to be in a specific place?
Just
some place where the best man can find it at about 3:00 in the morning when he has the munchies. You know, where's that good dang sausage at, man? I'm starving.
I think what I'm most known for is my wiener.
Well, as long as there's science backing this, go ahead, bury your sausage.
I've never heard about this one, but apparently this is decades old.
Oh,
this has been happening. There was a couple of newlyweds in Wisconsin who were forced to take shelter underground. A tornado came through, as they were saying, I do in June. They're now, and they've gone on to say, we really made a mistake. We should have buried that sausage the night before. A lot of people weighing in. All I'm saying is, I've never even heard of this one. And if you are telling me right now that a length of sausage literally has the ability to control the weather, then we've just done it all wrong.
Yeah.
We've done all of life wrong.
God, I wouldn't really think about 100 things in my life, you know?
To your point, yeah, it's like I mean, do you have to cook it first? Do you grill it? Do you broil it? Do you just put it in there raw?
I see a raw one go. I'm on the story now. She's planting the raw sausage in the ground. Appears to be in a garden of some sort, perhaps out near the shrubbery. This one's out by a fence. I guess just bury it wherever you'd like. You know, just not in one of the bridesmaids. Come on now. Just do it, she encouraged her. All right, well, you know, it's
gonna be
kind of a goofy ceremony anyway, like you said, filled with all sorts of odd traditions.
Would this work for other things? If the twins buried that summer sausage at Target Field, would we stop getting rain delays?
I think probably nothing would grow there within 100-yard, radius for the next 10,000 years or whatever. Yeah, who knows? Maybe no more rainouts. Let's bury the sausage out there in center field.
I think so.
Target Field.
I think burying the sausage needs to be. We can just start working that in. That phrase, like bury the hatchet's been around forever. What about bury the sausage? Let's start saying that more often.
Let's bury the sausage.
Wishing you good things.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you, man. Good luck with that sausage.
Tell you what, before we go up to Cragen's this fall, someone's going to bury the sausage. I'm just, we got a lot of outdoor activities planned.
That's a good point. All right, we're gonna have a little ceremony right here at the station.
I think that's how we kick off the entire weekend.
Probably a week out before we go to Cragen's.
Is that it? I don't know. I don't want to screw it up. Somebody better Google this.
Why don't we do the 12 days of sausage before we head up north?
Brilliant.
First weekend in October. 12 days out, we'll put down 12 brats.
I'm excited.
11 days, it's 11 knockwurst. Knock 3 times. Check this out. Speaking of people having a great time, some divers discovered a 19th century shipwreck off the coast of Sweden. It's a Polish diving group called Baltic Tech, and they're always looking through the Baltic Sea for shipwrecks. That's as they do. But just south of Sweden, outside of Polish territorial waters, they came across a shipwreck, went down there. They said one of the wrecks on sonar was barely scratching the surface, looked like a fishing boat, but they went down and they found a boat, again, from the 1800s in very good condition, loaded to the sides, as they said, with champagne, wine, mineral water, and porcelain. More than 100 bottles of champagne down there. It appears to be It appears to be a boat that may have been destined for Tsar Alexander II, who was the Tsar of Russia from 1855 to 1881. The champagne from the renowned Louis Roederer label, which since 1876 has been producing a special twice-as-sweet champagne destined for the imperial court. Long story short, they got a bunch of old champagne that was supposed to go to the Russian royal court, and they're thinking it might very well still be drinkable.
You first.
That's what I was thinking. I don't know, and I know it's awful cold down there at the bottom of the Baltic. It's probably been preserved, but at the same point, how do we know?
Somebody's going to take a swig of that. That's why you have interns around, or I don't know what they have on the boats there. There's some dummy swabbing the deck. Here, have a glass of this. Take a poke of this.
Hey, Basil?
I'd rather find the gold myself, but
Basil, yeah. Captain wants you up on the captain wants to talk to me. He sure does.
A little champagne, Basil. You made it your first week out on the boat. Congratulations. Let's pop a little bubbly for you.
Captain, they said you want to talk to me, Captain. What's going on? You like champagne, son? I don't know. I've never had it.
If they determine that this stuff is drinkable, though, it could be worth some money, because I'm thinking, oh, crap, we didn't find the treasure. We got the wine. A bunch of rich folks are going to buy that. You can still drink that old wine sunk down there. I forget when you said centuries ago.
Yeah, 1800s.
Oh, okay.
If somebody's going to pay $6 million for a Mickey Mantle rookie card, then champagne for Tsar, whoever he was, Alexander II's got to be worth something.
Ruined his dinner party, I bet.
Oh, yeah.
You mean the ship went down, killed 10 people?
I was going to say, how many people got the rope for that one? Speaking of getting the rope for this one, there's a story out of New York State that we discussed earlier. A mom from New York with her 4-year-old daughter, they went to Burger King. Her kid wanted a little burger and fries, and all was well until they looked in the bag. Now, the child does not care for ketchup. So imagine they're surprised to see what apparently looked like ketchup all over the food. Here's the mom.
I went to Burger King by my house, and I decided to get a Happy Meal for my daughter, and I heard, Mom, I don't want ketchup. I look in her bag, and there is blood all over her bag, her toy, her fries, everything.
Wow.
Blood.
Yeah.
Blood in the Burger King. Mom called the restaurant and got the manager on the phone and explained what happened. And he said, oh, well, one of the guys in the kitchen cut his hand earlier today. I guess he was still bleeding. Sorry about that.
That explains it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be right down with the health inspector. Let's go ahead and pull him out of there. You got a mop around there? Perhaps he could mop up your sticky floors.
Mm-hmm. She said that the manager said somebody cut his hand. If I came back, they'd give me a refund. This is where it gets a little sideways, though. So I can only speak for myself as a parent. Were this me and one of my kids at the age of 4 looked like human blood, I'd be sickened by this.
Yeah.
But my first thing I would do is make sure I did all I could to keep my kid from having any understanding of what just happened.
Yeah, they don't
a 4-year-old child doesn't need to know human blood is all over their food.
You will create trauma and a phobia for them that will last the rest of their life.
Or you can create what's already happened. She says her daughter has not eaten since this happened 3 or 4 days ago. The mom's anxiety's through the roof, and then she said in an interview with the New York Post, what if my daughter needs professional help from this? Are they going to cover those bills?
Let's start with mom first. Let's get you on the couch. Why would you put that on your child? We're supposed to protect them and keep them from these things, and it's not like a 5-year-old child's going to understand that, well, always make sure that there's no blood on your food. And I think I'd probably need that bleeding kid back there to give me a blood test, because the child ate some of it, right?
The child took a bite.
Might have had a bite of blood.
Had a bite.
Probably no problems. I'd give her rabies shots just to be safe.
That was another thing the mom said. We're going to have to get her tested once a month for a year to make sure she has no blood-borne illnesses. First of all, track down the kid with the cut finger.
Yeah.
Test his blood.
Yeah, go ahead and see what's in there. Just a bunch of THC.
And tell your kid every month that you're just going to the doctor. Just say we have to do this one. They don't need to know all the details. You don't have to tell a 4-year-old 4-year-old, that's human blood. That's all I'm suggesting. Your job is to protect your kid from the evils of the world when they're that age.
Oh, she's probably going for the big payday, Mom. Maybe.
Well, that's what it is. What if she needs help? What if she needs professional help? Let me see the receipts on those therapy bills. Mm-hmm. On the KQRS Facebook post, we asked, have you ever ordered food and got something that didn't belong in it? There's a few comments for sure. Christian wrote, on a trip out west, we stopped in a very famous restaurant in Colorado, the one with cliff divers. Don't know what that means.
Oh, the Mexican place, right?
Oh, I have heard of that place. The South Park guys bought it and refurbished it, right?
Gotcha. I'm not hip to it.
I'm thoroughly enjoying my food when I take a bite, and there's something very incredibly chewy. I take it out of my mouth. It's the fingertip of a latex glove. Thankfully, that was all, and not the fingertip of a person.
Yeah. That's there you go. That's half full.
They already ingested that.
That's rolling.
By the time they got to the glove.
Krista wrote, my mom found a Band-Aid in her bread bowl salad.
Come on, let's be careful. Band-Aid. Anyone with a Band-Aid, don't be making the salad.
Wow.
I mean, all right. I know. I don't want to know what's going on back there. The sooner we automate these places, I think the better off we all are.
Yeah, the robots don't need Band-Aids.
No, they don't need Band-Aids. They're clean. You hit them with some poisonous disinfectant in the morning. They're fine. Mm-hmm. They're not going to start bleeding into your food. They're not going to be popping zits back there and God knows what else.
Tom wrote, my buddy got a receipt sandwich from Culver's. That's a good one. Here's one from Michelle. Got a plastic bread tie on a burger at Applebee's once. The manager acted like it was no big deal. Told me that it must have fallen off the bun packaging. She says, well, no kidding, Captain Obvious. I had the first time, I'm a big fan of Indian food. I've always said, when the governor says, what do you want your last meal to be before they throw me an Old Sparky, I'm going to go out with Indian food.
Okay.
The first time I had Indian food at a restaurant in Atlanta in 1987, I went with a couple friends. I'd never been in an Indian restaurant before. Immediately, I walk in, the smells worked, and the food looked great, and I sit down, and I had a couple of starters, and we're sharing it, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever had. The dude comes up with our mains, and he sets down one giant platter of rice that everyone's going to share from. And right on top of this large plate of rice, as if placed there by the chef, is a obviously dead housefly, just a fly.
Nice touch.
Dead center.
Yeah.
And I looked at it, and my buddy looks at it, and we look at the waiter, and I go, hey, man, there's a fly on the rice.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, oh, I'm sorry. And he just picks it off with his fingers and walks away with it. And literally, I was like, this food just smells too good. I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to still eat. And I ate it, and it was just fine.
Maybe that's what the chilies do in there, the hot, it just, kills all that. But, yeah, just really not going to pick up the plate and go.
Sorry, this fly is meant for the other table.
I think he took one look at us and realized, oh, they're already drunk and stoned. They're going to forget this in a minute, but I didn't forget
I
it.
at least would have dined and dashed.
I needed to get back in there as soon as possible. I didn't want to be on the don't let them back in list. I've worked in a lot of places where I was preparing food for people I would never meet. And it's I guess it's like jury duty. I took it very seriously. I was never like, if something hit the floor, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's fine. I mean, I did have that sense of, no, I mean, someone's going to eat this, and I don't want to get a phone call saying, what'd you do to their pizza? Why are they vomiting? So.
I do have some friends that have worked at different franchises I don't need to name that won't eat there anymore. Okay. Not that particular franchise they worked at, but any one of them. I know what goes on there. My brother worked at a hot dog processing plant for a while. I won't go near a hot dog. I've probably eaten 30 hot dogs already this summer.
Sure.
Sometimes I don't want to know,
Oh, no. Definitely don't want to know.
Don't want to know.
I worked at a pizza place in Atlanta, and it was it's a place called Fellini's Pizza. There's a bunch of them in Atlanta, 8 or 9 of them. They're very successful. In the 80s, when there was only 2 of them, they were both just hole-in-the-wall dumps. And the ownership got their act together, and the place has gone on to become a very reputable, wonderful establishment. When I was first working there, not exactly.
No.
Every employee was in a band, including the owner, and it was eventually shut down by the health department when they showed up on a surprise inspection. The word on the street, I never got confirmation, was that there'd been a little payment going on. Make sure you give me a heads up before you show up.
Sure.
And then somebody missed that memo and showed up unannounced, and then we were all out of jobs. But before that happened, this was the state of the Little Five Points location in Atlanta, Georgia in 1988. We had a cat in the restaurant who lived there full-time. His name was Hobart.
All right.
We named him after the dough mixing machine, which was called a Hobart. And this cat would, on occasion, while people are sitting at their table eating their food, right there on the floor of the restaurant, just be playing with, toying with, and then eating mice. Yeah, right there, right on the restaurant floor.
Well.
And people would go, oh my God, and we'd go, oh, it's fine, it's Hobart. He's just doing his job.
One less mouse in the restaurant.
Better in his gut than on your plate. Yeah, that's a true story. Just whatever. What's the big deal?
The boy Hobart.
Hobart was a good guy. He know what? It wasn't his fault. He was doing what was asked of him.
I doubt there were many people that walked out. There are some places that I've eaten at that I know what's going on. If I saw it in front of me, I'd just be like, well, I would expect that.
I do want to stress, however, if you're in Atlanta and see a Fellini's not, go in there. It's great. It'll set you free. Yeah. Still good friends with the owner. I should probably think about couching that story for future reference. It was almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of 40 years ago, let's look back. Oh, I got some information for you. July 29th, 1989, the Texas Rangers dealt Scott Fletcher, Wilson Alvarez, and a kid named Sammy Sosa to the Chicago White Sox for Harold Baines. Harold Baines was a fine player, but he was known, as it turned out, Sammy Sosa. Yeah. Sammy Sosa ended up on the Cubs and, of course, was a perennial all-star. He hit 609 home runs, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
In 2000, during the presidential campaign, George W. Bush was running for president, and he was asked in one of the debates, what was the biggest mistake of your adult life? George W. Bush in 1989 was the owner of the Texas Rangers who signed off on that trade. And during the GOP debate, he said, my biggest mistake, trading Sosa for Harold Baines.
He was waiting for someone to ask him that question.
He was. But you know what? He delivered.
Yeah.
On this day in 1996, Tommy Lasorda announced his retirement from the Los Angeles Dodgers. 4 National League championships, 2 World Series championships, and, of course, one of my favorites of all time. At a time when the Dodgers were playing the San Diego Padres, Kurt Bavacqua of the Padres insisted after a game, Lasorda ordered his pitching staff to throw at us. And, in fact, in doing so, called Lasorda a fat little Italian. The next day, manager Tommy Lasorda was asked about Bavacqua's comments, and he had this to say.
Tell you what I think about it. I think that is very, very bad for that man to make an accusation like that. That is terrible. I have never, ever, since I've managed, ever told a pitcher to throw at anybody, nor will I ever. And if I ever did, I certainly wouldn't make him throw at a 130 hitter like LaFay or Bavacqua, who couldn't hit water if he fell out of a fucking boat. And I guarantee you this, when I pitched, and I was going to pitch against a team that had guys on it like Bavacqua, I sent a limousine to get sucker to make sure he was in the motherfucking lineup, because I kicked that sucker's ass any fucking day in a week. He's a fucking motherfucking big mouth, I'll tell you that.
Oh, it's so great. When I was pitching and I was playing a team with a guy like Bavacqua, I sent a limo to make sure he made it to the ballpark. That is just gold.
I don't know if they don't make them like that anymore, but you certainly don't run into them like that much anymore.
I love when Lasorda says, I have never told a pitcher to hit someone. Like, no, we know. You told the pitching coach and he told the pitcher. We all know how this works, Tom. Chill out, buddy.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.